All right, we're looking at function inverses today. All right, two functions are inverses if I do the composition of f of g of x and I get x. When this happens, I know that two functions are inverses of each other. Now, I'll explain more about this in just a second, but here's the reason we do functions is right here. Suppose I have this function right here, 3x minus 2. And I have these values of x. So I can plug these values in. Like if I put 2 in for x, 3 times 2 would be 6, minus 2 would be 4. If I put 5 in, 3 times 5 is 15, minus 2 would be 13. And then 3 times 11 is 33, minus 2 is 31. And it's real simple. 3 times 30 is 90, minus 2 is 88. It's real simple putting these values in of x and finding the function value of x. But if I have the function value of x, and what's the x value for that? It's not as easy because, see, this 3, that's the function value of x, which is this over here. So 3 equals this, and I've got an equation to solve. And so if I knew what the inverse was, then I could do this as easy as I did this one. So that's what inverses can do for us. All right, so like here's starting out. And I'll tell you what, this first one's not inverse. I know it's not, but I'll come back to it. Let's look at this second one. These are inverses of each other. Here's how you tell. Okay, we're going to do f of g of x, fog x. What that means is I'm going to take the g function of x and I'm going to put it in the f function. So here's the g function right here. I'm going to put it for x in this other equation. And so what I'm going to do is, right here where x is, minus 12, all divided by 7. Okay, I'm going to put this in where x is. So I'm going to put this 7x plus 12 in for the x. Now, when you do this and they're inverses, it should just fall right in place. So like right here on the top here, 12 minus 12. Now these will cancel. So that gives me 7x over 7. And then the 7s will cancel, and it equals x. And so, yes, these are inverses of each other. And it should just fall right in place like this does. But now this first one here, just by experience, I know this is not inverses because, all right, if I do f of g of x, I'm going to take the g function and put in the f. So here's my g function. I'm going to put that in for x in the f function. So I'm going to have this 1/3 x plus 5/2. And then right here where x is, I'm going to put this in. All right, so there you go. There's f of g of x right there. Now I want to simplify it. And if I get x, then they're inverses. All right, so I'm going to distribute here. So 1/3 times 4 would be 4/3. 1/3 times negative 5/2 x would be negative 5/6x, and then plus 5/2 over here. And these two go together. So I'm going to have negative 5/6x, and then 4/3 plus 5/2 would be 15 8/23 sixths. But the thing is, see, I could tell back here that nothing's going to cancel and stuff. I don't get x, so this is no. They're not inverses. Okay. Let's go down to here, this one. Now, this one here, I can tell you already it's not going to be inverses. But I'm going to take my g function and I'm going to put in for x the f function, okay? So I've got negative, and I got parentheses squared. Oh, parentheses, and I got a plus 4 here, and it's to the 3rd power, so I'm messing up. And then right here where x is, I'm going to put 4 plus x to the 3rd. So I'm putting this where x is right there. Okay, well, I've got the negative out front, and then 4 plus 4 would be 8 plus x to the 3rd, and x to the 3rd would be x to the 9th, and this is not going to get x, so this is another no. See, it's not falling in place. It should just fall right in place like this one did. Things will just cancel, and I get x. Okay, let's go to number 4 here. Are these inverses of each other? All right, so again, I'm going to do f of g of x. Okay, and we'll take the g function and put it in the f function. So here's my g function. I'm going to take that and put it for x right there in the f. So I've got negative 3 over 7 times x minus 13 over 7. Okay, and then right here, I'm going to put this 3/4 x minus 3/5. Okay, and then we'll distribute. So negative 3/7 times 3/4, just use your calculator. This is going to be negative 9 over 28 x. Then we'll multiply this one. I'm going to go positive 9 over 35 minus the 13 over 7. So I distribute this to both of those, and I get these right here. And I put my like terms together. When I put these together, but I can already tell I can't do anything with this. I'm not going to get x. So this is another no. Okay. Go to number 5. What about this one? Are these inverses? So here's my g. I'm going to put that in for x in the f function. Okay. So it's going to look like this. Negative 3 over. All right, then I'm going to have all this thing down here, and then minus 4. So I got negative 3 over x, minus 4. See, here's this right here. And then right there, in place of the x, I'm going to put this negative 3 over x plus 4. Okay. Now, I'm going to divide this right here, and here's a rule here. I'm going to get another sheet of paper here. We're dividing a fraction. When you divide fractions, you got to keep, change, flip. KCF. It's not KFC. KFC makes me hungry. I think of chicken. But this is KCF. You keep, change, and flip. Okay? What that means is, when I'm dividing, like I am right here, I keep this top one. So I'm going to keep the negative 3. I'm going to change from divide to multiply. Okay, make sure you see what I got here. And move this up some, okay? So I'm going to keep, change, flip. I'm going to keep the negative 3 on top. I'm going to change from divide here to multiply. Change that. Keep the top, change to multiply, and then I'm going to flip this bottom to make it look like this. So I got the negative out front. I do that. Okay, so I keep this guy, change to multiply, and I flip the bottom one. Okay, now when I multiply here, this 3 here I'm multiplying cancels the 3 I'm dividing. And I've got, now there should be a negative in front of this. I've got 2 negatives, which makes it positive, so I have x plus 4. That's what I get when I do this right here. All right, so this is x plus 4, and then I got this minus 4. And look here, they cancel and I get x. So this is yes. Those are inverses because I get just x. Now that one's a little bit harder one, but I don't think they're going to be very that hard. Okay, what about number 6 here? Are these inverses of each other? All right, so here's my F1, here's my G1. All right, the G1, I'm going to put the G1 in for x of the F1. Now you could do f of g or g of f either way. It don't really matter. It should work either way. But all right, so what I've got here, I got negative 5 plus 3x divided by 2. And right there where x is, I'm going to put the negative 15 minus 4x divided by 5 in there. Okay. All right, so I've got negative 5 plus, I need to distribute this 3 in here, so it's going to be 3 times negative 15, which is negative 45 over 5. See, it's negative 45 over 5. And then minus 3 times 4x is 12x over 5. I'm just splitting them up. So I did 3 times the 15, 3 times negative 15, which is negative 45 over this 5. And then I got a minus right here, minus. I do 3 times 4x, which is 12x over the 5. Okay. And I can already tell this is not going to work out here because I've got this and I'm not going to have any way for it to simplify down to just x. So this is going to be a big no. I just quit right there, no. Okay. All right, now find the inverse. Now suppose you have a function and you want to find what the inverse of that function is. So these are the 4 steps we use. You first change f of x to y, then you swap x and y. Then step 3, you solve for y. And then step 4, you change y to f inverse of x. Now it seems like it's a whole lot here, but it's really not that complicated. So let's go to this first one here. And I don't know if I can keep the rules on there, the steps on there. All right, so the first step is change f of x to y. So here's f of x. Step 1, I'm going to change that to y. Okay, I'll just do this in green each step. So there's the first step. Okay, I changed this to y. Okay, now step 2. Step 2 is I swap x and y. All right, so that means now this is going to be x equals 1 over, and this is going to be y. So I swapped them. So let's see, my y became an x and my x became a y. All right. Now I swapped them, so now step 3, I got to solve for y. So here's my y right there. I need to solve for it. So first thing I would do is I would add 5 to both sides. Okay, and that gives me x plus 5 equals 1 over y. Okay. Now, y is in the denominator here, which means I need to multiply both sides by y so I can get out of the denominator. That would cancel off. And so I have y times x plus 5 equals, these cancel, so I just have 1 over here. Oops. Let me do this again. I didn't realize it's off the screen here. So I multiply both sides by y, make this cancel, so I just have 1. And I have y times this. And now, here's y over here. I'm going to divide both sides by x plus 5 this time. This cancels off. And y equals 1 over x plus 5. And there you go. I solved for y. Okay. Now, step 4, I change y to f inverse of x. So this is f inverse of x equals 1 over x plus 5. And there you go. That's it. Okay. All right, we're about number 8 right here. Find the inverse of this one. Okay, now this one's actually a little bit easier. That first one was the hardest. They should have had the easier ones first. Find the inverse. First thing I do is I change f of x to y. So right here, this is a y. Okay. Okay. So that's step 1. Step 2, I swap x and y. All right. So that means now this is going to be x, and this is going to be y over here. This is step 2. So there you go. So I swapped the x and the y. All right, now step 3. Step 3, I've got to solve for y. So I'm going to solve for y here. So the first thing I do is I would minus 4. So I'm going to have x minus 4 equals negative 5y, and this goes away. And then now I just divide by negative 5. This will cancel, and y equals x minus 4 all divided by negative 5. Okay? And I think we're good there. Now sometimes they split this up. That's what I was looking at the key on here. This is y, so then I'm going to, step 4, I'm going to change this to f inverse of x, which is this right here. And then, like I said, sometimes they split it up, so they might have x over negative 5 minus 4 over negative 5. They might split it up like that. And that's the f inverse of x. But usually they'll leave it this way. They'll usually leave it like that. Okay, there's a couple more. All right, this one here, find the inverse of this. All right, so step one, we're going to change f of x to y. So it means right here, f of x is now y. Y equals 6x plus 15 all divided by 2. Okay, that's step one. Now, step two, I'm going to swap x and y. So it means now this is going to be x, and we're going to have y over here now. We're swapping them. So step two, it's going to be 6y plus 15 all over 2 here. Okay, I swapped them, and now I have to solve for y right here. So the first thing, all this is divided by 2. I'm going to have to multiply both sides by 2 to make these 2's cancel off. Okay, this is step 3 I'm solving. So 2x equals, and this cancels, I have 6y plus 15. Okay. Now, here's my y. Well, I need to minus 15. That's going to give me 2x minus 15 equals 6y. And we're about done here. This I divide by 6. This will cancel. I'm going to go over to the side. Y equals 2x minus 15 all divided by 6. And there I got solved for y. Now step 4. Change y to f inverse of x. So this is just f inverse of x equals this. And there's my answer. Okay. All right, number 10 here, and this one looks like an easier one. Okay, so it means right here, this is going to be y equals negative 3x plus 2, and I'm going to, that's step 1. Step 2, I'm going to swap them, so this is x now, and this is y over here now, so it looks like this. And now step 3, I'm going to solve for y here, which means I'm going to minus 2 on both sides. That cancels. Okay, and then I just divide by negative 3. This will cancel off. And I got x minus 2 all divided by negative 3. And there you go. There's what y is. So step 4, I got to change it to f inverse of x. So f inverse of x equals x minus 2 all divided by negative 3. And there you go. There's my answer. All right, there's a couple more left. Now here we get into something that's a little bit different. We've got a square involved here. Same deal though, same 4 steps. Okay, so first thing we do is we change f of x to y. Well, this time it's g of x. Okay, I'm going to change it to y. All right, so this is going to be y equals 3x squared plus 5. So that's step 1. Now step 2, I swap them. All right, so I'm going to have x equals 3, and this is going to be y squared plus 5. So I swapped them. And now step 3, you got to solve for y here, which means I'm going to have to minus 5 to make this go away. So I have x minus 5 equals 3y squared. And then I'm going to divide by 3 to get rid of the 3 here, which gives me y squared equals x minus 5 all divided by 3. Okay, and now, since I've got y squared, I can square root both sides to cancel off the square. Okay, which means I'm going to have y equals, now when you do this, it could be plus or minus. When you square root both sides, it's always plus or minus. I don't know if they have an answer, so I don't really think it's something you have to know. But it's going to be y equals, and over here I got the radical x minus 5 all divided by 3. And there you go, I solved for y. So now, step 4, I changed this to f inverse, which this was g function, so it's going to be g inverse of x equals all this. And there you go. There's my inverse. One last one, and this one here has a radical, which is not too bad. So again, I change this to y equals radical x minus 1. Okay, then I'm going to swap x and y, so it means I'm going to have x equals radical y minus 1. So I swapped them. So this is step 1, this is step 2. Now step 3, I'm going to solve for y here, which means I'm going to have to add 1 to both sides. X plus 1 equals radical y. Okay. And then I'm going to have to square both sides to cancel off the radical. So I have x plus 1 squared equals y. So I've solved for y now. Okay. All right. And so now I can just change this to f. Oh, this is f. F inverse of x equals this right here, x plus 1, all that squared. And there's my inverse. Okay, so that's what we have about inverses today. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to help you all I can, okay? So have a good rest of the day.